Okay, so this video is going to go into a little bit of details about sexual exploitation and abuse, because I also endured sexual abuse in the relationship with my child father, where I would tell him that I did not want to have sex following episodes where he was abusing me. And child abuse, because they completely tried to lie about the fact that he was abusing my son as well. And they tried to keep that off of the case when I was in there fighting the charges. And I feel that that's a slap in my face for someone to be abusing my child, and then for the courts to sit over there and try to lie about it and then try to convict me. And then I'm out and I want my baby, and they over here keeping my son from me when his father was punching on him and abusing him inside of the home. And I took my son and I ran out of the house to get help. And eventually I ended up hurting him because he was being violent with my son. So when I hurt my baby daddy, he had just got done attacking me. And then he had started attacking our little boy. And we tried to get him to calm down, me and the man in the restaurant who I asked for help, and he wouldn't, and that's when I hurt him. So the police arrested me and lied on the police report. They didn't mention a witness. They didn't mention that he was abusing me. They didn't mention that he was being violent with my son. And now my son has to have grown up without a mother, with his white grandmother, Cynthia Olvera, who's actually not his real maternal grandmother because she adopted his father. And people are not even caring about the effect on my child, because when you got a little child, you can brainwash them to just forget about their mother or just go on with life as if I never existed. But my son actually cried for 6 months while I was in the jail. And Cynthia tried to say that it was because of what happened with me in Austin, but it was because they took him from me. And I had visions of Cynthia and Joseph Olvera being pedophiles when I was in the jail. Cynthia Olvera came to me in the spirit and told me that she was a witch and that she would sexually abuse my son, that her and Joseph wanted to sexually abuse him. And I pray to God that they have not done this, but this is what I saw in the spirit. And as a mother, when you see stuff like that and you know they was back there trying to murder you and cover up your pregnancy, then you really have to really look at the type of people who we're living amongst in this society. And I pulled up these clips of these people who was convicted of child sexual abuse, because people think that you got to have a certain type of face in order to be a pedophile. And you see a lot of black men being demonized for everything, but you don't really see the media reporting on all of these white sex offenders. And when a woman come out and say, I don't trust somebody with my child, they was willing to lie and let me be convicted for 100 years knowing that your son was abusing me and my child. Why would I trust you with my baby? If it was not for the stuff that I seen about Cynthia being a grand witch and a pedophile, then honestly, I would have went through the whole court system much differently. But knowing that all these black people was trying to come out the woodwork to try to kill me for these white people, I need to go ahead and pull up some clips to show y'all that white women can be pedophiles and sex offenders. There is a whole sex registry full of white women who are sex offenders. And when you take somebody's child and give somebody's child to somebody, Cynthia Olvera never watched my baby. I always watched my baby. And I should never have to leave my child, a little boy, with a white woman who has never watched my son until I was incarcerated for hurting her son. So that could have been retaliation of doing anything to my little boy to try to retaliate. And this is a woman who exposed herself to a child, and she lives out there in Texas. And I've seen her off rip if she had credentials of a nurse or a teacher or something like that. most people would say that she would be more qualified to keep my child than me. And these women is whole damn sex offenders. So you can't judge just because somebody got white skin or because they worked as a nurse. Cynthia worked as a nurse. Okay, it's plenty of nurses that's been accused of all kind of sexual indecency and things like that. And I'm not coming out to, oh, I'm just reporting her or nothing. No, I'm telling you what I saw in the spirit about this woman. And I don't feel that any judge should look at, oh, somebody got some money or whatever, and you gonna strip their child from them and give my child to some white woman that's claiming that she could take better care of my child than I can. And so this is a white woman who was babysitting and abusing toddlers in her care. And you got these white women coming out the woodworks trying to make it seem like they can tell somebody where somebody else's child can go, and the whole system is full of their asses talking about pedophilia and child abuse. I ain't never abused my child.